Hello my dear cooks and scientists, welcome! Join me to prepare some soft and flexible tortillas which do not break when we make a taco. In the experiment, we will vary the amount of water used, the rest time of the dough, and the cooking time. You will see that adding oil or wheat flour is unnecessary to obtain perfect tortillas.
Let's see how we will do this series of experiments. We will perform 3 by varying the amount of water in the prepared dough of masa. At the same time, the dough's resting time will be tested, with no resting time at all and with a rest of 30 minutes. Each of these experiments will test the distribution of the cooking time, keeping constant the total cooking time, which is 90 seconds. First of all, we are going to follow the package instructions. Let's measure 2 cups of flour, which weigh 8.8 ounces, and a cup and a half of water, which equals to 11.8 ounces. Mix the flour and the water for 2 minutes until they form a smooth and homogeneous dough. I want to emphasize the texture of this dough. Let's see how it breaks when I press it with my fingers. Let's weigh the dough and divide it in 2 parts to do 2 different experiments. I will let rest for 30 minutes the dough of this little plate. But before I take a sample, I'm going to leave this bowl of a masa rest without being covered, to let it dry and see what happens. I made balls of 1 ounce each, and I will cover them with a damp cloth to prevent them from drying out. To form the tortillas, I'm going to use a press. In the middle of 2 plastic sheets, place a dough ball. That in Mexico, it is known as textal or testal, word that comes from the Nahuatl textli, which means dough ball. Place the testal once, open the press. We observe that the obtained tortilla has a rough edges. Turn on the stove to a medium-high heat temperature and let heat the skillet. According to the supplier's instructions, we need to cook the tortilla for 30 seconds on each side, giving 3 turns to the tortilla. Very well! We observe how it begins to pop up. After 90 seconds, we remove the tortilla. Now we are going to test it. It looks good. Oh, it doesn't receive the second fold. We see how it breaks, so this tortilla is not good to make a taco. Let's cook the next tortilla with the cooking time that worked for me. First, seal one side of the tortilla for 15 seconds. Flip it. And in this second round, it is where the tortilla is cooked. We will leave it for 65 seconds. The third step consists of 10 seconds. Thus maintaining an overall cooking time for 90 seconds, the same total time cooked the last tortilla. Visual inspection, eye side, B side. I see it somewhat dry, edges quite rough or cracked. Well, let's do the fold test. Survives the first fold. The second fold survives, for which I will qualify these tortillas as suitable for making a taco. I did the previous 2 tests in triplicate. It's been about 20 minutes and then it's time to do the next test. With this dry masa, I observed cracked edges and even a few parts of dough dried on the surface of the tortilla. Let's do it using the cooking times that I proposed to see what happens. Seal the first side 15 seconds, the second side is cooked for 60 seconds, and the last turn cooks for 15 seconds. We can observe that the tortilla begins to puff slightly. Visual inspection. Both sides looks well to me. Let's go to the fold test. The first fold was okay, the second fold was okay, and approved the rolled test. So this tortilla remains qualified to make a taco. 30 minutes have passed, and it is time to make the rested dough tortillas. I'm going to cook it for 30 seconds on each side. Excellent! We see how these tortillas puff a little more. It looks good, a little toasted at one side. Now I'll do the fold test. The first fold approved. Oh no, it already broke. It is completely broken. By the which I rate this tortilla not suitable for making a taco. Next test with the resting masa. Let's see the tortilla for 20 seconds and turn. On the next flip, cook for 60 seconds, and on the last flip, we left only 50 seconds. We see that it begins to puff. Visual inspection, side A looks good, side B looks very good, the first fold is okay, the second fold is okay. Excellent! Roll test approved. Not satisfactorily, but is approved. The results of experiment block number 2 are practically the same as those of the experiment block number 1. So we will save this time. Then let's go directly to the next experiment block. Finally, I prepare an even more dough hydrated. Again, keeping the amount constant of masa flour used, that is 8.8 ounces. On this occasion, I used 30.4 ounces of water, equivalent to a cup and a half, plus 3 tablespoons of water. I have a much more flexible masa. I want you to observe its texture, please. Again, I divide the masa into 12 balls of 1.8 ounces and the bonus of 1.5 ounces. When I squeeze the mass ball with the fingers are marked, but the mass doesn't break. We observe the edge of the tortilla disc that this is much smoother. I'm taking advantage of the fact that we already know the mechanics of the experiments. I want to use the later experiment to measure the temperature of this surface of the tortilla with this infrared thermometer. First, we experiment for 30 seconds on each side. What do you think? Do you think that finally using this time distribution with this super hydrated masa, we will get an excellent tortilla to make a taco? We'll see. Oh, my hands are already very sensitive. I need to cool this tortilla before doing the test. Let's go directly to the roll test. Failed. Not apt to make a taco. Even it was used a perfectly hydrated masa. Let's go to the next test. This time I use 20, 60 at 10 seconds. Roll test. Wow, this one is overcome. I'm going to undo the roll to observe the whole tortilla and did not observe any break, huh? There is a whole tortilla. Awesome. And since we are here then, let's see what temperature the skillet has. 664 Fahrenheit. I like to do the tortillas of this size because they fit 2 in my skillet. To streamline the process of making tortillas, I make 2 tortillas simultaneously. I'm sealing a tortilla while pressing another. I know that it takes me about 20 seconds to press a tortilla, so I'm counting my time and I don't need to wash in the timer every time. Of course, at first, it is essential to take this into account. All tortillas puffed, all approved for tacos. We get a pound of tortillas, 12 tortillas, and a bonus. The diameter of the tortillas is 6 inches approximately. Make your calculations. How many tortillas do you eat? Move on to the experimental results and analysis. Constant 8.8 ounces or 2 cups. The cooking temperature was at medium-high heat. The total cooking time was 90 seconds. And we vary the amount of water, the distribution of cooking time, and resting time. In all cases where the cooking time was 30 seconds for each side, we obtain a brittle tortilla, regardless of whether the dough was perfectly well hydrated, or that would have been at rest for 30 minutes. In contrast, flexible tortillas were obtained to make a taco when the proposed cooking time was used, regardless of whether the dough was relatively dry or did not have resting time.
But what does this happen if the total cooking time of both tortillas is 90 seconds?
Well, let's take a closer look at what's going on. Let's call A side to the tortilla that touches for first time the skillet and B side the other side. We observe that in the distribution 30-30-30, the A side is cooked with a total of 60 seconds and B side for 30 seconds. With the times proposed here, A sides and B's total cooking time is the opposite. When cooking the A side of the tortilla for 20 seconds, the tortilla reaches a temperature of 154 Fahrenheit. And if we leave it longer in 30 seconds, it gets a temperature of 176 Fahrenheit, which causes higher evaporation of water from the tortilla. The B side cooking of the tortilla, in both cases the tortilla reaches a temperature of approximately 210 Fahrenheit. I think it is in this step is where the tortilla is cooked and more than 30 seconds are required for it. When the tortilla is cooked in the A side for the second time, in the first experiment, the maximum temperature reached was 219 Fahrenheit, even though this side was cooking for 30 seconds, in contrast with the 10 seconds of the second experiment, where the maximum temperature reached is 235 Fahrenheit, which is higher than the temperature of boiling water. This is due to the steam formation in the middle of the tortilla, which is what causes it to pop up. So, with these proposing cooking times, not only do we get flexible soft tortillas that are puffed, but they are also better cooked, thus obtaining a time in distribution cooking consisting of a seal between 15 and 20 seconds, cooking the tortilla between 55 and 65 seconds, and on the last flip between 10 and 50 seconds. And, as we can see, it is not necessary to let it stand the dough for 30 minutes or longer to obtain some good tortillas. No need to add oil, and it is not necessary to mix it with wheat flour. All we need to do is have a good distribution of cooking time. Thank you for watching us, for sharing your experiments, your results, your questions, and for subscribing.